The Jay Garvin Show. Home Mortgage Talk. Saturdays 8 a.m. and Sundays 10 a.m. on KRDO News Radio 105.5 FM and 1240 a.m. And now here's your host, Jay Garvins.
Well, good morning. I am Jay Garvins, and you're listening to The Jay Garvin Show here on KRDO News Radio. I am the owner of Colorado Springs Home Mortgage Loans and also your Southern Colorado Mortgage Jedi. We've got a really exciting show. We've had a very busy week here, and today's show is It's My Home, Where Did My Equity Go? So we're going to have fun with this one. I've had so many clients in the last month that have been into these 80-20 loans back in the 2006 to 2009 time frame, and now they've got more mortgage than equity. I've got individuals that want to sell and need to give advice for me on short sales. And the bottom line is all of the discussions are about equity. Where in the heck did it go? Why did it stop growing? What are the loan programs that got us in trouble? What are the government programs that are trying to get us out of trouble? And then more importantly, what in the world are you going to do about it for your family? I mean, what are your options? I got a gentleman that called me this week, and I appreciate you listening. I really do. Tom was the guy, and I appreciate all of you. I mean, if you're listening and you have questions as the show progresses, just pull over. Stop what you're doing and just write down my number, 719-330-1457. As John Maxwell says, hi, my name is Jay, and I'm your friend, and I just want to answer questions and let you know that I am not going to delegate off to some internet telemarketer that's going to take your call. You're going to speak with me, Jay Garvins, the host of the show. This is Jay Garvin's show, Home Mortgage Talk. We'll talk about real estate. We'll talk about mortgages, whatever your questions are. But you have to call me. I write down my number. Some of you call right away. I don't even care if you're calling me here this morning, this weekend, just to get my number in your phone. We'll go ahead and hook up and get your questions answered. Now, another way that you can get a hold of me is just on my website. That's actually preferable if you don't like to talk to people on the weekend. I have the family time I need as well with Marlo, my wife, and my son Asher, who is 8, and my daughter Ella, who is 6. You can go to my website, Colorado Springs HomeMortgageLoans.com. That's Colorado Springs HomeMortgageLoans.com. That's plural. Just go to the right-hand side of the homepage. You'll see a picture of me, a video in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see the logo for the Jay Garvin Show, and just put in your information, put in your question. Hey, Jay, I want to buy an FHA home for the first time. Hey, I want to buy a VA home. Hey, I can't get out from underneath my equity. What are my options? Those type of things. But what I do want to talk to you about is, it's my home. Where did my equity go? So let's just spend a little bit of time here. I'm not even going to go through any of my housekeeping stuff with news and all of that. I want to get right into the meat of it, and here is the gist of it. I'm telling you that somewhere back in 2004, 2005, equity was always appreciating in houses, but we started to create this housing bubble. And I don't know if many of you remember that term, but what it was is houses really started to appreciate. I mean, people were refinancing houses like in 1998 in California for $2 million. And by 2004, they had grown like 40% in less than 5 years, something ridiculous like 10% a year. And, whatever that was, all of a sudden they were looking at houses that were $2,200,000. Then they'd grow another 15%, 200,000, and then they had $2,400,000. It was crazy. And I really equate it to like concert tickets for Justin Bieber. There's only so many seats, and there's 100,000 seats, and there's 200,000 fans. Of course, the demand for that ticket's going to go up. Let's just look at our beloved Broncos. When they're playing lousy, you can't give away a ticket. But all of a sudden, this is a bad word for many people, but Tebow comes on board, and then they start winning, and the demand goes up where more people want them, and the price of the tickets go up. And that's what happened to houses. What happened is the demand started going up big time because a lot more people were getting in the housing market. There was a lot more buyers for reasons that I'm going to explain. And the bottom line is that we're going to go ahead and look at that in a second. But the bottom line is that we have houses that have increased equity because there's a big demand. And the big demand is because there's more buyers out there because there's a frenzy of the value going up. So there's more people that are interested. But also, if you go into my demographics of economy, you're going to see that it also is because there was just more consumers who had money to be in the game. And this is all tied into It's My Home. Where did my equity go? And where your equity went is the bubble burst. That's the bottom line. The bubble burst. And what are you going to do about it? But let's explain a little bit how and when and why the bubble burst. And I'm going to keep referring over and over during this show about demographics of the economy. And with the demographics of the economy, that kind of is my explanation in 3 separate shows where the economy turned and why the bubble burst. But the bottom line is it's my house. Where did my equity go? Let's start from the beginning. I'm going to tell you right now. And during this time, if you've got an FHA loan and you're about to streamline or refinance or your rate is above 5%, really 4.75, if your rate is above 4.75 on an FHA or a VA loan, give me a call. Just buzz me at 330-1457. 330-1457, and I can walk you through the process of saving you personally, your family, $150 to $300 a month. I'm going to talk later in the show, especially if it's an FHA mortgage, because I'm saying if you're going through a refinance right now with someone and you started your FHA refinance after the 1st of April, you need to stop it and call me immediately because all of your fees have went jacked up and you need to hold off until after June. And if your mortgage banker and your mortgage broker have not told you already, hey, we're on hold, we're going to wait to finish this thing until after the 10th of June and get you a new FHA case number, they are taking you on a ride you don't want to be. And if they've already told you, call them up and say thanks. Hey, I listened to Jay and the Jay Garvin show on the radio, and he told me that, FHA prices are dramatically decreasing. Upfront fees are going from 1.75% all the way down to 0.01, which basically is going to save you thousands of dollars. And thank your banker if they're doing that. If your banker has not done that or your mortgage broker has not done that, fire them. Get rid of them. And give me a call, 330-1457. If you've got a conventional loan and you are above 5.5%, give me a call because this rodeo is not going to last forever. I'm going to explain to you today where inflationary hedges are already on the horizon and banks that make billions of dollars are predicting it. And I'll prove to you emphatically how I know inflation is coming in the next 3 to 5 years. There's no doubt at all. It's a done deal. The goose is cooked. Start serving him. The bottom line is if you have more than 5.5% on your conventional mortgage and you haven't adjusted it and you want to save $200 to $400 a month, give me a call. Now, if you have an investment property and you're at 5.75 or 6% or above, man, you've got to give me a call because you can save thousands with your mortgage payments and make more with your rents if you just get these darn things adjusted before these inflationary hedges hit. But back to the show, and It's My Home, where did my equity go? Let's see where it started. Where it started is with supply and demand. Back in the 96, 97, 98, 99, houses started to really become popular and appreciate. And it is it's kind of like bubble wrap. It's not like one big bubble like the stock market. Boom. The stock market does good. Everybody benefits equally. The same that they do in Phoenix as they do in Milwaukee. But real estate is like bubble wrap. There's a bunch of individual bubbles, and Phoenix or Arizona as a whole or Nevada or just Las Vegas or California or Florida can all be affected dramatically. And then you have places like Wisconsin, Illinois, Alabama, Colorado that are hit less drastically with the real estate market because there's more independent factors that take place. Like, for example, back in 96, 97, 98, when I was here in the military, it was like a swear word. I mean, industry was going so well. MCI was huge. All of the cats and dogs are sleeping together. Oracle is growing. Oh, Intel's coming in on Garden of the Gods, and everything is beautiful in the private sector. And they're like, oh, that lowly military. Boy, Fort Carson is bugging me. Boy, Pinyon Canyon doesn't make us happy. Air Force Academy, well, go figure, flying aircraft over our house, and we're upset. And everybody's judging and critiquing the military. Well, all of that is gone. Out of here. Because now private sector sucks. My wife worked at MCI WorldCom, and they split that apart like a beef shank. WorldCom came in there and screwed that whole thing up. And then you got Larry Ellis and Oracle. I mean, talk about a dude that's full of himself. Oracle got difficult, folded in on itself. Don't even talk about the whole Intel debacle out on Garden of the Gods, the government, the taxes, the water rights. The bottom line is the full economy started to go in the crapper, and now the military is great. The military is paying and pulling the weight here in El Paso County, and now everybody loves them. But the bottom line is that Colorado Springs and our bubble wrap economy with the real estate is very different than Phoenix. Phoenix has Scottsdale, and they got the effect of the university. Vegas has the Strip, and everybody coming in there. And then you got California, where you got international buyers. The bottom line is that every market as a whole has been affected different, but supply and demand affected everybody. The state of our economy affected everybody. And where I'm going with this point before we get into the next segment is that the supply was down and the demand was up in the 90s. And everybody was jumping on the roller coaster. I mean, my wife and I made equity on our houses. I bought a bunch of them in 03, 04, 05, fixed them up and sold them and made money, and for gracious sakes got out of the industry. As far as owning real estate, and you may or may not know my story, back by 08 and 09, I sold everything and then just sat out for 2.5 years and rented. But it's my home. Where did my equity go? Well, first I'm explaining where it came from. It came from supply and demand. It came from a strong economy. And I'm telling you, straight ahead, don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about exactly how that bubble got so full of air that it had to burst, where your equity went, and that's just information. But most importantly, we're going to talk about what do you do from here. Isolate the situation, understand it, and reverse it. How does it affect you? What can you do? I can tell you how you can benefit from the fact, if your equity's gone, we can create a situation where you still can benefit from this economy. First, follow me through the explanation. Straight ahead, I'm going to go through exactly where the bubble burst. Thanks. And when we're going to go through that, and then we're going to sit back down and go ahead and analyze exactly how your family can plan for it, how you can prepare for it, and most importantly, how you can profit from it. You're listening to Jay Garvin's KRDO News Radio.
The Jay Garvin Show. Home Mortgage Talk. Saturdays 8 a.m. and Sundays 10 a.m. on KRDO News Radio 105.5 FM and 1240 a.m. And now here's your host, Jay Garvins.
Okay, I'm Jay Garvins, and this is the Jay Garvins Show. Thank you very much for listening. We are back with the second segment here of this show. It's my home. Where did my equity go? You're listening to the Home Mortgage Show by Jay Garvins. I am the owner of Colorado Springs Home Mortgage Loans, locally owned, locally operated here. You have questions. I know you're my regular listener. If you're new out there, give me a buzz, 330-1457. You have a mortgage question, real estate question, I will personally help you through it. We've been putting more staff at my company to answer all of your questions. I want to make my company your company, and you will get a call personally from me. It's not going to be some cheesy telemarketer, and we'll get to the bottom of it and help you out, help you personally save money. But we talked previously, it's my home, where did my equity go? We talked about how the Equity has increased over the last 10 years from 1996 to 2006 was really an equity growth time. It was faster than normal in this country. I honestly believe, without any doubt at all, it was supply and demand. You had more buyers just because people knew that house values were going up, so they wanted to get in the game. But more importantly, we just had more consumers. There's 78 million baby boomers, and they were all primed between their 40s and their 60s with a whole bunch of cash in their pocket. They were looking to make big money for their retirement. The people that got in early and are the first part of that generation made money, and individuals really that were born between like 55 and 64 got really hosed because they were to the game late, and they got held with all that equity, and then all of a sudden, somewhere in 2006, the bubble burst. Where did my equity go? So let's explain that a little bit, and then I'm going to go through some of the loan programs that got us in trouble. I'm going to explain some of the government programs that are trying to get us out of trouble, explain to you personally which one of those are working, which are not. All throughout this whole thing, the reason I'm on the air is to help you understand, add value to your life, add some security to your family just by having knowledge of what's going on. And then also to save you. The bottom line is my company is in business because I make money, and it stays in business because I help you save money. And this radio show is just an extension of that. So if I can save you $300 a month, call it $3,600 a year, I'm going to encourage you to listen to what I've got to say. Now, in the long term, if I can help you create a retirement and avoid the damage that happened to you and others during the bubble bursting, all we have to do is understand it, and I personally can add at least some knowledge to a better retirement for you, more security for your family in the long run. So you have $60,000, $80,000, $120,000 of equity, or a $500,000 house owned outright. And the basic sense is, if you're a Dave Ramsey listener, then I'm of a Dave Ramsey life, Dave Ramsey mindset myself. My wife and I just finished the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University show, and I run a mortgage company. So the bottom line is that if you subscribe to those beliefs, then you're at the right place, because I'm one of the few mortgage brokers that you're ever going to meet that doesn't believe in debt. My wife and I just bought a house, and we'll pay it off in 15 years. We don't believe in any debt outside of our house, period. Now, I've got business debt now because I invested in this show and I invested in employees, but business is separate than individual. My wife and I buy everything for cash, and I want to help you create a safe retirement and save money right now so you can have more comfort, not so you can go buy one more toy, so you can have security, not so you can go up to Cripple Creek one more time, so you can have a future and give a legacy to your children and your name, not so you can go get one more ATV. So here's what happened with the bubble bursting. Where did my equity go? Well, the bottom line was this. All of a sudden, everybody was buying houses. They were refinancing more. Wall Street at the same time was finding that there was money in these actual mortgage securities. First, it was the subprime. And a subprime, you guys, are all you individuals that did the 80-20s out there that weren't Fannie and Freddie Mac endorsed. They weren't VAs. They weren't FHAs. They were private investors out there like Aurora Loan Services, Nation Star, all these companies that were plugging money together in pools, selling them. And we started to get to the point where in 2004, when I still was with Top Gun Mortgage, I said, Terry, Jeff, what in the heck is going on here? People are buying houses with no money down, 80% first, 20% second, and then they started to say we don't need to know what your income is anymore. Light document, no income, no asset, cats and dogs sleeping together, total mayhem in the mortgage industry. And I go into my president of the company and I'm like, Terry, this is not going to continue to work. And I relinquished my partnership in my company back in 2004 because I knew the wheels were coming off this train. And everybody's surprised by 2007 and 2008. And now we're paying the piper. They've regulated the heck out of my industry because people said they got bad loans. They didn't read the paperwork, and there were bad mortgage brokers out there. And the bottom line is that everything started to heat together like a big cauldron, and that's where your equity went. You had mortgage companies that were giving bad products. Then you had people that were trying to refinance, take cash out, doing all of these things. But here's the gist of it. Somewhere in there, the demand ceased. See, the supply didn't go away. Builders kept building, but the demand went away. And I get so, not infuriated, but emotional about this because there were programs. I never did an option arm. And basically, if you have an option arm, I feel sorry for you, especially. You can give me a call at 330-1457. I'll help you figure it out. And the bottom line is as you're listening, if your mortgage rate on a government loan is above 4.75 and you haven't refinanced yet, give me a call, 330-1457. If you go ahead and you have a conventional loan and you're above 5.5% and you haven't refinanced yet, yes, please give me a call. Go onto my website at Colorado Springs, homemortgageloans.com. Colorado Springs, homemortgageloans.com. Put your information in there. I can walk you through it because I'm telling you, this rodeo's almost over. Inflationary hedges are coming. There's proof. This isn't just a guy on a radio show trying to convince you to call him. Hey, earth to you. My mortgage is fine. My wife and I have a 3.75% 30-year fixed, and we're doing fine. And if you've got hang-ups in your life that you don't want to call me because of pride and all of this stuff, and you're afraid, and the guy talks too loud, I am sorry for you. Call someone else, but do something. I had one gal this week that gave me a call, saving her over $800 a month, taking her from an 80% first and a 20% second, non-Fannie Mae sanctioned, has absolutely no way to get out of a 10% first and a 5% second. We formulate a way. By chance, back in Vietnam, she served her country. I found VA eligibility with her. We got her certificate of eligibility. We put the whole thing together. It works for her. And then guess what? Her husband, who's got a problem with liquor, doesn't like the loan. Well, my God, that's not my problem. I feel sorry for them. But if you got a hang up, get over it. They're walking away from $800 a month savings. And my production manager, Scott, looked at me with very sincere and sad faces and say, Jay, I looked at their income, and the thing that scares me the most is I see their debt going up, I see their ability to work going down, and I don't think their debt ratios and everything's going to come together in 6 to 8 months for them to even do it. So the window will close. And it's all because of a pride and a spouse had issue with alcohol. And there's a million issues out there, and I got issues. I mean, my word, you and I could go and talk for hours about my relational hang-ups. I've been always financially blessed. My wife Marlo and I have always been blessed with our health, blessed with our budgeting, blessed with that. For some reason, I got the stink bomb tag that I just can't get it right in relationships. I keep working on it, but that's my hang-up. Hi, my name's Jay. That's my hang-up. What's your hang-up? The bottom line is that you have to get over it and secure the future of your family. I want to help you, I really do, but I don't care if you call or not. We're busy enough that we're going to help sincere people. I'm going to help you sincerely, not because I want your money, because I really want to help. And what I'm talking about right now is when people got into these 80-20 loans, they got stuck because their equity went away. And it's my home. Where did my equity go? And if you go all the way back to you calling me going through a refinance, all the way back to if you've got a house or a friend with a house or a kid with a house or a parent with a house that's lost equity, give me a call, 330-1457, 330-1457, and I'll walk you through it. Because here's where the equity went. Once the bubble burst, the biggest reason the bubble burst in 2006 and 2007 is do the math. The first of the baby boomers started to turn 60 years old. That generation is from 1946 to 1964. And if you take 1964 plus 60 years, I'm messing up here, 1946 to 1964, if you go ahead and take 60 years. That's when people stopped spending. And basically what happened at the end of 2006 is the first baby boomer started to turn 60 years old, which means all those aggressive people that were buying and selling for investments and making money fast in equities. It was like day trading with real estate. They started to turn 55, 58, 60 years old. And it's like, hey, I don't feel as aggressive anymore. I want to protect my nest egg. Well, the first part of that generation actually got to a point, born in 1946, add 60 years to that, and that's 2004. So the very first part of the largest generation in the history of our country started to actually turn 60 and protect their nest egg and start to think more conservatively. And they're like, oh my God, I'm making a lot of money, but let's take my money now and sell it. And from 1998 all the way to 2006, really you can go back to the 90s, people were in real estate, they were buying, it was very aggressive. It's only in 2006 that people started to say, whoa, we're not going to buy as much, we're going to actually start selling, and you saw the numbers taper off a little bit. And then it was a snowball effect. Then by 2007, people were not buying as much, but the loan programs were still out there. And I have to admit myself, the craziest loan program I did that I knew that the end was coming is somewhere in 2006. I did a loan. No income, no asset. 80% first, 20% second. No money down. No explanation of income. And it wasn't even for an owner-occupied house. I did it for a friend of mine, John. We did it legitimately. The investment company gave it to us, and he did it for an investment property. I knew the goose was cooked. The game was over if companies were allowing us to buy an investment property home with about a 7% first mortgage, a 15% second mortgage, with no money down at all, and then I didn't even have to explain his income. I mean, they didn't want anything but him to be breathing. Nowadays, if you want to buy an investment property, there's not a single one out there by any bank that they'll allow you to buy an investment property with any less than 20% equity. And that's how it should be. Back in 2006 and 2007, all of the loan programs were still there. What happened to the demand? That's what turned. If we had more consumers still buying, the demand would still be going. Because the only reason the government put on the red flag, the brakes, stopped this program, was because people stopped paying their mortgages. And people stopped paying their mortgages because house stopped appreciating. And houses stopped appreciating because people started buying. And when people stopped buying, that means our consumer basis was smaller. And that's all it is. And that's where you go back to demographics with the economy. If you want to listen to previous shows and really learn, in a sense, it's like listening to Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University CD series. Go to KRDO.com. Go into the radio tab on top. Go into the schedule of the radio programming. I'm on Saturdays, rebroadcast on Sundays. Look for the Jay Garvin Show, and we've got all of my shows archived. You also can go directly to my website at Colorado Springs, homemortgageloans.com. Pull down the radio show tab. It's going to have previous shows. It's going to have current show, and it's going to have archived. Go into the archived shows. They're there, and you can see demographics of the economy. So the demand is gone. That's where your equity went. When the supply was high, but the demand no longer matched it, your equity started to go, and people just didn't know how low it would go. And I'm not any smarter than you. I've studied the industry, but I started to sell my properties like a madman in 2006. I knew the train was going to derail. I knew it was coming off the tracks. And I own a mortgage company, and I sold every single one of my houses. I think we sold the last 3 or 4, and then by 2009, we even sold my primary residence that my wife and I had lived in and I had owned since 1996 for 13 years. And hey, I bought it in 1996 for $118,000, and I sold it for $229,000. I doubled my money almost, and I could have sold it for probably $240,000 if I would have sold it by October of 2008 rather than October of 2009. But I'm glad because I just helped the exact same person buy that house in the same neighborhood, Cheyenne Meadows, same builder, Classic Homes, exact same street, 3 houses down, same model. They just bought that same house last year for $208,000. So I was very, very glad I saved $22,000, and I don't think they're at the bottom. Depending on the condition of the house, my house is worth about $100 a square foot now, which is basically about $205,000, $204,000. But the thing is all of this is great. What does it mean to you? What do you do right now if you've got a friend that's got no equity? What do you do if you don't have equity? What do you do if you've got a daughter or a parent with no equity? What do you do? That's exactly what we're going to go into. I'm going to explain exactly what loan programs are there to help you recover and exactly what you can do to plan for your future, to get out of it, create security for you, help get another house, get the exact opposite of what was served to you, and that's a house with a boatload of equity. And once you get a house with a boatload of equity, 5-10 years from now, you can profit from it. So it's fantastic potential right now. It's unbelievable potential. So stay tuned. Straight ahead, we're going to say exactly what to do next. What's your next step? What are the programs out there in order for you to plan for houses with upside down equity, how you to take advantage of it, and how for you personally and your family to profit from it? You're listening to The Jay Garvin Show on KRDO News Radio.
The Jay Garvin Show. Home Mortgage Talk. Saturdays 8 a.m. and Sundays 10 a.m. on KRDO News Radio 105.5 FM and 1240 a.m. And now here's your host, Jay Garvins.
Okay, we are back. I am Jay Garvins. You're listening to The Jay Garvin Show, Home Mortgage Talk. And we're talking about the title of the show today, It's My Home. Where did my equity go? And we had touched this last segment that the demand was just gone. The number of consumers that were wanting to buy houses, one, because of the numbers. The baby boomer generation was dwindling down. My generation, Gen X, do the math, is only 45 million. There weren't enough consumers coming into the rodeo. And then on top of that, then you started to get loans going bad. And then it was insult to injury. We had the TARP. We had loan programs shutting down. Then people that wanted the houses couldn't get money as easy because things were inflated for a while and exacerbated so much by the fact that you didn't need any qualification. And all of those things were just starting to shut down. Even if the loan programs shut down, if the demand was still high and the consumers were still there, somehow the equity would keep going. So look and think about that. There was just way more supply. And I equate it this way. It's pretty simple. There's 78 million baby boomers. If you got 78 million people in a general statement that are trying to sell, and you got only 45 million people, me, the next generation coming that's wanting to buy, we're 30 million people void of having an even playing field. And the bottom line is that you need to have an even playing field in order to keep the value of anything even. So here you have it. What do you do about it? Well, the big thing that you do about it is you get rid of your house. A lot of people are doing that through short sale. Some people are doing that just by going into foreclosure, which I don't recommend. Some people are getting in as your value is getting back, just selling the house and going back to renting and getting yourself out of debt. There's 100 of different things to do. Here are some of the government programs. First of all, I mentioned to you if you're FHA. Here's a great thing for you to do if you have an FHA loan. If you have an FHA loan, they've created a program, an FHA Streamline. It does not judge your income. It does not judge the equity in the house. All it does is look at your house, see if there's at least a 5% savings, and then they allow you to roll through. Now, that costs money. Up until this last month, you had an upfront funding fee of 1% for a Streamliner purchase. Now that went to 1.75% here at the beginning of April. So if you have a $100,000 house, the FHA HUD administration is going to want $1,750 kind of rolled into the loan right away regardless, just for their fees. Now, they did a miraculous thing, actually, here in the last month, and they said, whoa, 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 purchasing an FHA home is one risk, but streamlining and refinancing it where the people just want to make their situation better is another. So they passed another law, and this is where I'm going to tell you, do not start an FHA Streamline loan right now. If someone has started an FHA Streamline loan on you, and they did not get your FHA case number before the 9th of April, stop, leave them, and walk away. So if you walked into a company last week and you started an FHA loan and they didn't say anything about the law and the changes coming after 9 June, fire them, walk out, don't give them a chance to re-explain, because after the 9th of June, if you just have a little tiny $100,000 loan, your upfront fee to the HUD administration goes from $1,750, 1.75% down to 0.01, effectively zero. It's like $10. Now, why in the world would your mortgage broker not tell you? Why in the world would your mortgage banker not tell you to stop and hold off? There's only one thing. They want your money. They're proving through actions that they don't care about your friendship and your well-being. Well, I do. If you call me and we talk about FHA loan, we're going to talk about an appointment and set things up to where we get you an FHA case number after the 9th of June. Not only are you going to save that $1,750 per $100,000. So if you got a $200,000 FHA loan out there, I just saved you $3,500 just for calling me instead of calling someone else. Is anybody else telling you, hey, I want to help you, but let's set this up for the end of summer because I don't need the money right now, and the most important thing for you is the best product for your family? And on top of all of that, your monthly MIP goes from like 0.95 down to 0.55, and the bottom line is that you are going to save upfront dramatically, and then monthly, your fees are going to go down substantially. So that's a great government program that they're helping you restructure, paying less money. I can get you down into the 3.75% on an FHA loan. So if you're above 4.75%, you give me a call and we'll just structure that thing. Now with a VA, the same way. VA hasn't jacked around with the rates quite as much and all of the fees and the government programs and regulations. But if you're above 4.75 on a FHA or a VA loan, you give me a call. And if you have not had the chance to use your VA eligibility yet, or you haven't bought your first-time home as an FHA first-time home buyer, hey, I've got access to CHFA money. Hey, I've got access to $100 down purchase with FHA. Your resources are limited, but we can get you the answers. I'm going to tell you a couple things here. One, be wary of these programs, though. I got a gentleman now that I'm formulating a plan on how to refinance his house. Hey, if you're all excited about CHFA, so am I, but you're held prisoner. There's an individual that I am walking through that bought a CHFA home like 4 years ago. They gave him $3,000, and now he can't do an FHA Streamline because he's got to pay off his $3,000 second to CHFA, and they won't allow him to resubordinate that or put his second mortgage back in place. So he and I are formulating a plan on how to pay off. So he's got to pay off CHFA $3,000 before he gets access to the FHA Streamline. That's being held prisoner. So when you go for these wonderful no money down government programs, do not be all naively surprised that there's strings attached. I mean, I was in the military for 10 years, and I'm telling you, there's always strings attached. So the wonderful thing here is you've got a great VA program that allows you to streamline, bada boom, get you a lower rate as your equity builds back up, do the responsible thing and not go into foreclosure. You got FHA Streamlines. That's a great government program there I explained to you. But what do you do if you're conventional? What do you do if you got an 80% first and a 20% second? Don't go anywhere. I'm going to explain this after the break. Lay it out minute by minute, item by item, and how you can take advantage and, more importantly, plan for your future. You're listening to Jay Garvin's KRDO News Radio.
The Jay Garvin Show. Home Mortgage Talk. Saturdays 8 a.m. and Sundays 10 a.m. on KRDO News Radio 105.5 FM and 1240 a.m. And now here's your host, Jay Garvin.
Okay, last segment. You're listening to Jay Garvin's Home Mortgage Show. Jay, your host here, and I'm scratching my head because all of this stuff is coming together here. And what is actually your call to action? What do you do next? There's a couple of different things here. First of all, if you have a small house, first-time house, you are upside down in your mortgage, you believe, but you've got an FHA or a VA, you go ahead and re-streamline that mortgage. Get yourself down to a fixed rate, whatever you had before, get rid of it. Absolutely. Stop right now. Pull over to the side of the road. Write down my number, 330-1457. I'm serious. If you have an adjustable mortgage, stop right now, whatever you're doing. 330-1457. I'm going to cover this first. These are like the absolute call to actions. If you've got a variable mortgage right now and you're not selling your house in the next 12 months, you need to stop and go to Colorado Springs, homemortgageloans.com, and put in your information right now and say, I got a variable loan and I'm stuck. That should be the additional information in that block. And you give me a call. Let's start there. Because here's the proof. I said I was going to prove how I know inflationary hedges. This is not just Jay Garvin's, all souped up on energy drink on KRDO News Radio trying to tell you my opinion. This is fact. If you go onto the internet and Google 5-year ARMs, if you go into the internet and Google 3-year ARMs, if you go onto the internet and Google 7-year ARMs, interest rates that are set for 3, 5, or 7 years, and then they go into variable fluctuating status. If you talk to any mortgage broker, you explain to me a 3-year mortgage traditionally is always the lowest because it's the least amount of guarantee for a bank. So they guarantee your rate for 3 years, and then you're up against the market. And then that's going to be traditionally the most aggressive interest rate, 2-3% right now. Then you're going to have a 5-year, and that's going to be a little less aggressive. And then you're going to have a 7-year that is going to be better rate than a 30-year, but definitely not better than the other two. Well, I'll tell you, your world's turned upside down because that's exactly what the case is. Because banks don't care. Right now, banks don't want you to go into a 3-year ARM. Banks don't want you to go into a 5-year ARM because it's not like, it's your fault if you get caught by the market in 3 years. They know what the general consumer's going to do. You all have, in mass exodus, filed for foreclosure, done short sales. So what the banks have said is we don't want our clients. Wells Fargo has said, we don't care about your clients. We don't want our clients in 3-year ARMs. We don't want our clients in 5-year ARMs. So if you look right now, 7-year ARMs are the most aggressively ARMs priced out there. So a 5-year ARM and a 3-year ARM is more expensive and a higher rate than a 7-year ARM or a 30-year fixed. Why in the world would they do that? They do that because they don't want you in a 3-year ARM or a 5-year ARM. And why would a bank that spends billions on marketing not want you in a 3 or 5-year ARM? Bada boom. They know the interest rates are going to be higher. Everybody in the universe knows the interest rates through an inflationary hedge are going to be higher in 3 and 5 years. It's only you that doesn't know. The government's not going to tell you because they want to keep your head down buried in the sand. But if you look at business in America is doing fine. They got very little debt. They're eliminating their debt. Wells Fargo, Chase, B of A, all of those companies want to make dang sure none of their clients have variable loans in 3 and 5 years when the big inflationary hit up to 5%, 6%, 7%, 8% hit. So if you got a variable loan that comes due, you better call me now. The next thing is if you've got no equity in your house, don't worry about it. Refinance into an FHA or a VA streamline. Take that house. The supply and demand for rental is so high right now because people can't buy and they won't buy and they're fearful of it. Turn that house into a rental. On a 3% mortgage 6 months after you refinance it, you're more than able to do that. You can intend to occupy it and later upgrade as your family grows. Now I'll help you go get pre-qualified for a mortgage. You got your old mortgage that's only $600 a month. You got a renter that wants to pay you $1,100 a month. That's a $500 profit there. You're going to get that as income for your future. And then on top of that, we're going to help you go buy a house for maybe $180,000, $280,000, whatever. Talk to Chad and Holly Havercorn. That's exactly what they're doing, getting more house right now. And then you can buy more house, get a deal, get a house that appraises for $280, but it's really worth $360 in a strong economy. You get more equity, you move up, and now not only you've got a retirement asset, because I'm telling you, by the time the next generation, the echo boom comes over, there's 80 million of them, and that's all of you that can't pull up your pants, you can't stop texting. You're 80 million. People born after 1981, and that consumer surge is going to be so ginormous after 2020 to 2025. Any of you that have sold your houses are going to kick yourself, because $100 a square foot houses are going to go up to $150 to $170, and everything in hot areas like the Broadmoor, Briargate, Rock Rimmon, Woodmore, all of those areas, the Old North End, are all going to be back up above $200, $250 a square foot. And then it will be time to sell because of supply and demand. So there's the solution I gave you. Call me at 330-1457. If you have a small house, let's turn it into a rental. Let's get you on a fixed rate. Let's make a huge profit. Let's upgrade. Get a house first with an approval. Then we'll find a house. I'll introduce you to Donnie Corum, who owns SearchSpringsHomes.com, Foreclosures.com. We'll find you a deal. Then you got a new house. You can grow into that equity. You've got a rental that you get a tax write-off, you're getting a monthly profit, and you're starting to keep it long-term. And then when the economy gets hot, sell that house, put that money in the stock market, and you've just set yourself a retirement. I don't know why people make it more complicated than that. I'm not smarter than you. I've just studied this stuff. You call me personally at 330-1457, 330-1457, and I'll walk you through the process. You've been listening to The Jay Garvin Show. I am Jay. I'm your friend. Have a great weekend.